anomaly unto themselves, a warp in the fabric of reality. In death, their stamp lingers upon the world. It is a matter of drawing the essence of what remains into a coalescence of her original form. Powerful, but still diminished.
And perfectly fine.
Do not allow me to become free.
This young Spanish athlete stepped onto the track, racing against some of the fastest girls in her age group, always chasing the next record. But simply running wasn't enough for her. She wanted more. Back then, she was finishing her hurdles in around 15 seconds, but she never stopped pushing. And when she returned, everything changed. She started clocking 14.70 and soon after broke through with 14.46 seconds, smashing her own limits and proving she's one of Spain's brightest young hurdlers.
Bungie has just issued a live update into Destiny 2, and this one is going to ruffle some feathers for the Destiny 2 players, alright? Because if you don't know, the new Call to Arms event came out, and we quickly deciphered that you needed to be 550 power if you wanted to be in that top echelon to unlock either the emblem or even the helmet. For some of us out there, some of us are so low power that the helmet is nearly unobtainable. So Bungie said that they would issue a hotfix, or I guess it's a live update, so they don't actually have to bring the game down, and they have since changed that. But the way they changed it is, it's going to be a little controversial. Thanks for the continued feedback on our first Call to Arms event, Guardian. We've deployed a live update that introduces the following changes. Alright, change 1. They tuned scoring so that the lower power you are, the more of a boost you will get to your Call to Arms score to offset the score impact of power. So, i.e., if you're not 550, you're going to get a boost to bring you up to near 550 score. How exactly close will that get you? We expect this to mitigate most, but not all.
Have you ever been confused by audio in games, where you couldn't tell which direction a sound came from? I've spent 7 years creating a game engine, and I figured out a way to use ray tracing to get realistic 3D audio. And it can also be used to visualize sound for deaf people. This process has 3 steps, and the first is about tricking your brain. Your brain relies on many factors like the shape of your ears to work out which direction a sound came from. But in games, you can only hear sound from your left and right headphones. To solve this, games use binaural audio, which simulates how sound waves interact with your head and ears. This tricks your brain into thinking a sound came from a specific direction. Most games use this already, but they still have issues with their audio. We can solve these problems using ray tracing. Let's say you're working in an office and someone's talking in the room next to you. When you hear them talk, their voice will be deeper than usual. But you don't think, that's strange, Jamie's voice sounds really deep today. Your brain subconsciously understands that there's something between you and them, and that their voice will sound a bit deeper than usual. Then if their voice sounds normal, you'll know that they've opened the door. Just by listening, you've noticed things about the environment around you, and this is crucial for 3D games. To muffle sounds, most games use a room-based audio system. So if you're standing in this room, sounds in the other rooms will be muffled. But it gets complicated when rooms have strange shapes. If you're standing here, how muffled should a sound over here be? And it gets more complicated because some rooms might have thicker walls, doors that open and close, or they might even be destructible. This is where ray tracing comes in. Instead of setting up rooms for our level, we'll fire rays outwards from your player. These rays travel faster than your eyes can see, so I've slowed them down for this demonstration. They also move in 3 dimensions, but these animations use 2, so they're easier to look at. Also, in real life sound travels towards your ears, but these rays are doing the opposite. This isn't a perfect simulation of real life. These rays are trying to discover sounds and learn about the environment around you. We don't have any sounds right now, so I'll play some music in this room. Now we can see a new kind of ray that travels directly towards the music. The more green rays there are, the clearer the sound. Listen to how the music changes when the room closes up. We can change the entire shape of this building and the rays will automatically figure out how muffled the music should be. But ray tracing can do so much more than this. Here we're inside a large room and we'll fire rays outwards like before. Each time the rays bounce, they'll check for line of sight back to your player. These blue rays represent echo in real life.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the full launch of Black Ops 7. It is finally time for the first impressions video. This has been a long time coming. I was very curious to see what the full launch of this game was actually going to be like, and if you did the New Zealand trick, then the game's been out for most of the day, and by the time this video hits your feed, the game's going to be available for the rest of the world. So what we're going to do here today is just sit down and give you my honest first impressions of everything within the Black Ops 7 multiplayer that I've been able to experience so far. I said it yesterday, but I wanted to go over the good and the bad and the downright ugly of this game, but as crazy as it sounds, coming from somebody like me, there really isn't a whole lot of ugly within Black Ops 7 as of right now, at least when it pertains to multiplayer. I do want to preface this entire video by saying that these are just very early first impressions and everything is subject to change. Like, the game technically, as I'm recording this, is not even out for the entire world yet, so very early impressions. They are subject to change, but we do have a lot I want to go over here today, so without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right on into it here. So when it comes to the multiplayer maps, I figure we should start there because I feel like the multiplayer maps are where you experience the totality of the game, right? So the maps are pretty damn important, and honestly, I think they're solid. Like, they're not amazing, they're not terrible, they're like right there in the middle, kind of like akin to Black Ops 4, if that makes any sense. Like, Black Ops 4, I thoroughly enjoyed that game, but no map really ever stood out to me as like amazing or fantastic. Just all the maps were kind of solid, and so far anyway, Black Ops 7 kind of feels the same way. None of them have stood out to me as like incredible or instant classics or anything like that, and you can definitely notice which ones are considered small or like face-off style maps. I think they said something like 4 of the maps at launch were going to be face-off style or just small in general, and you'll have to forgive me here for not knowing the names yet, but this map right here, I remember spawning in on Domination and the B flag was like 20 meters away from the C flag or something like that, and I was like, oh, it's a meat grinder map, oh boy. But thankfully not every single map is going to be like that. The Black Ops 2 remakes are honestly gorgeous, they look really freaking good, but how could they possibly mess this up right here? They even used it as official marketing with the basketballs on Raid, right? You can't actually melee them and actually try to make a basket like you could back in Black Ops 2. They actually used it as a piece of marketing material on Twitter, and the basketballs aren't even placed in the right spot. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just saying it's like definitely an oversight on the part of the developers. But getting back to it, the Black Ops 2 remakes, nothing really changed about them whatsoever. And a big question for me going into this game was, how much would wall jumping actually affect the game's multiplayer? And I've got to be honest, it's an afterthought. It truly is. At least so far anyway, wall jumping is just a straight up non-factor within Black Ops 7. It's more of a gimmick than anything. In all my time so far, I have barely, if ever, seen people using the wall jump outside of like niche little spots where they can like jump up into a window or something like that. Like, it's really not that big of a deal whatsoever. Sliding, however, is still pretty damn prevalent, and if you're wondering how the matchmaking felt, it honestly pretty much just felt like the beta, man. Maybe a bit sweatier than the beta, or maybe a bit sweatier than what you might expect out of open matchmaking, but let's be realistic here, man. The only people playing today were the people who cared enough about Black Ops 7 or just Call of Duty in general to figure out how to get in early by changing their consoles or their PCs to show that they're from New Zealand, right? Like, obviously these are going to be some pretty hardcore people. The average person is not doing that, right? So tomorrow, and then the day after that, and the day after that, and so on and so forth, I predict the game is going to become even more relaxed as your average Joe starts playing. Like, even going back to the beta, how many like super casual people are actually playing the beta, for example, right? I don't see that many people actually doing it. I mean, sure, some of them will, but in general, like your super casual players, like your Christmas noobs and things like that, like they're not going to be playing the beta. They're definitely not going to be setting their location to New Zealand to play the game early on day one or anything like that. So I am curious to see what the game's going to be like in a couple of weeks, maybe in a month or something like that. Like, how will the game evolve over time? And will Activision decide to press the red button and just add skill-based matchmaking back to the game? I suppose we're going to have to wait and see what happens when it comes to that. But I can say from my perspective so far, playing the game early, even against like the New Zealand sweats and everything, it genuinely feels like the good old days. It is night and day different compared to all the bullshit that we've been dealing with over the course of the past 5 or 6 years. Every now and then, sure, there's going to be a sweaty lobby or a couple really sweaty people in your game that are just like really freaking good and somehow don't miss. But that's what happens with organic matchmaking. That's one of the reasons why organic matchmaking is so much better. I did try out the standard matchmaking playlist just for the sake of this video here, and what a freaking joke, man. Like, not only was it notably sweatier than my other matches, but it took nearly 2 full minutes between starting my search and when I was actually able to play the game. And then after the match, which again was notably sweatier, the lobby completely disbanded and it took another 2 minutes to get into another match. And I'm not gonna harp on this too long here because it's all been said before, but Activision fucking lied to us, man. Like, straight up to our faces for years there. Skill-based matchmaking was never meant to make the game better. Ping was never king, and time to match was never a consideration whatsoever, because if I search in the open matchmaking playlist, it takes at most 15-20 seconds to get into a match, and that's on the long end, right? Like, open matchmaking seems to be 5 or 6 times faster than skill-based matchmaking, and I implore all of you, please, never play the standard matchmaking game modes. Do not give Activision their precious data. Do not give them a single inch when it comes to open matchmaking versus standard matchmaking, because I played that one match here today just to show you all what it was like, right? And the hope in doing that is I can prove to you all and prevent you all from ever trying the game mode out for yourself. Like, I truly hope that me playing that one match of that game mode will prevent like 20,000 of you from ever trying it in the first place, because that way Activision gets as little data as possible and they have less reason and less justification to have it exist in the game in the first place. Now, next up here, to continue my first impressions of Black Ops 7, I want to go over some pretty big general topics I noticed while playing the game so far. The biggest one for me right away is, holy shit, am I bad, right? And it wasn't because of the matchmaking or anything like that. It was just the transition of basically only playing Battlefield for the past month and barely having touched Call of Duty for like, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, something like that. Besides the beta, right? I've barely been playing Call of Duty lately, and Black Ops 7 is a noticeably fast game. Even on classic Black Ops 2 maps like Express and Raid, the game plays much faster than what you might remember from the good old days of playing Black Ops 2, for example, you know, and a big part of that, of course, would be the New Zealand trick and the quality of player that would do such a thing, but it's also the game as a whole, you know, like the sliding and the movement and the perks and the attachments that can all kind of help speed you up and everything. It's a pretty quick game, and it was a bit of a system shock, honestly, to get into the swing of things, although after a while, I did finally get my shot back and things started to feel a lot better. I've always kind of said that Call of Duty is sort of like riding a bike, you know, but one thing that a lot of people are dealing with right now is just how much they nerfed aim assist, because it is noticeably weaker in this game as compared to Black Ops 6 or pretty much any other recent Call of Duty title. And it feels a lot like the old days back on like the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. Like, I'm not even joking. If you guys like have a console nearby, if you were to boot up right now, like the OG Modern Warfare 2, maybe like the OG Black Ops 2, wherever the hell you want to pick, you're going to notice that aim assist in those games back in the day is nothing like what we've been having with like Black Ops 6 or Modern Warfare 3, even going back to Modern Warfare 2. Like, basically any modern COD, aim assist has been ridiculously powerful compared to the old days. And here in Black Ops 7, they definitely toned it down quite a bit, which kind of added to that like whole system shock when I first started playing the game, because again, like, I'm shooting at people and the aim assist isn't really helping you as much, you know, so I'm kind of like windshield wiper aiming left, right, left, right, left, right. I'm like, holy shit, am I that bad at the game? But eventually I got the hang of it. Eventually all of us are going to get the hang of it, and overall, I actually believe it's a good change for the game, because it makes Call of Duty in general less about aim assist and more about actual player input. So overall, I think it's good, although again, it's going to take a while for people to actually get used to. But for me personally, once I kind of got into my groove and I started to understand how the game was working, I started calling in a good amount of score streaks. And I'm sad to say that in general, score streaks in this game seem to be pretty damn weak. And it's not even just so much like them not doing a whole lot on their own. Actually, I have a great example of this. You guys will probably find this funny, but my first chopper that I called in here for Black Ops 7, I happened to get it here on Express, right? Well, it didn't get me a single kill. It didn't kill a single enemy, but eventually it got shot down by somebody using their rocket launcher, and on its way down, it killed me. So I call in the chopper, and the only sorry son of a bitch that it took out was me. But that's kind of like my whole point right there, man. Like, Express, especially if you're like an OG that played Black Ops 2 back in the day, Express was never good for score streaks, because most of the map is indoors, whether it's like the main building or the trains or the side buildings or whatever, it's mostly indoors, therefore score streaks kind of blow on this map. And honestly, The same thing is true for most of the other maps here within Black Ops.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and you know, ladies and gentlemen, I'll fully admit it, I'm too old now. I'm getting really old. Like, I'm in my 30s, you know, my back's starting to hurt. Call of Duty just doesn't hit the same. You know, I loaded up Black Ops 7 when it had its open beta, probably like a couple months ago at this point, and I played like a couple matches, and then I just went to the PlayStation, uninstalled it, because I realized, I get it. You know, I'm just too old. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I've been up there building up the old energy drink tower, as you can see. It's starting off a little small, but I'm going through tubs. And, you know, one thing about energy drinks is I was thinking, you know, the kids these days, they're on Adderall, right? So, you know, here I was getting some old gamer subs. Code SOG, by the way. You know, some people, they love chugging coffee. Some people love snorting coke. I love doing this. Now, of course, you can only do so much of it before your heart pops with all of the goodness inside. So I was wondering, man, maybe if I did like a whole tub of this, I could be as good as the kids. I can. The kids are out coming out of the womb with Adderall addictions. It's crazy. You know, kids these days are just so good at Call of Duty that it's insanity. And, you know, I've just realized I'm old. I don't even understand the game anymore, okay? There's so much sensory overload. But you know what I love about Call of Duty, no matter what, is always the campaigns. I love Call of Duty campaigns. I really do. It's one of my, like, it's one of the things that excites me, okay, every year. How goofy is the COD campaign gonna be? It's like going to watch a fast...
Hey, you look really pretty today.
Oh yeah, you think so? Don't you think I look pretty every day? Are you calling me fat? You're calling me fat, aren't you? I can't believe you'd say something like that. You've literally just lied to my face. Aw, you're so sweet, thank you.
What just happened?
Women are crazy if you don't blow their cartridges.
That seems kind of sexist.
Sexist. Guys get their discs clean all the time.
Disc.
Can you rub it?
Connor! Did you drink my chocolate milk?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, then what's that on your mouth?
Come on, open up. Open up. Open up. Nice. Okay, so I got here. I want to get here in 9 minutes, but I am on 8 minutes, 44 seconds. So I'm going down the shaft right now. Going down the mine right now. Nice little way. I see only 2 eyes, so he's not gonna be down here. That's 4, that's 4. Nope. Didn't think there's no way there. So if you want me to stop, I can show you what it is I'm talking about and how to keep it in full. But I know you guys are busy doing it, so I'll do it. So each 10 runs I do it. I stop for a moment to reflect. So that way I don't lose the practice in a way. Yes. Then I just lose the practice. Okay. 6 minutes, 39 seconds. You want to get through this portal in 7 minutes. At most. But 2 of these grenades will do what it's supposed to do. I put that on. I touch that guy. Go inside of my thingy. Where's my thingy? Where's my thingy? And just by sitting inside of this, that will fix it. I know him. shoot food. I mean, that's quite fast. Make sure that nothing is in my way. He's gonna start here. And there we go. Maybe that 540 was fine. Used to be amazing. But nowadays it's horrible.
That went better than I expected. The Guardian looked comfortable alone out there.
Excuse you. Guardians are never really alone. They've always got their ghosts.
See, it's consistent.
I'm sure Jinju would agree.
2.3.
I haven't seen much of her lately.
2.9.
She spends all her time with the Ghost Community Theater. They're mounting a new production, some big secret. I can't wait to see it.
You need 5 cap. Flat out.
Disappointing.
No problem. I want to do the coil. Don't want to be doing this. But what's going to happen, I'm going to go sleep today. And when I wake up tomorrow morning, somebody has part of me. But not if I get 3.9. Oh no, 3.4, I'd say. 2,000, 200 more. 200,000 more. And that should be fine. In the meantime,
Sectors have been changing hands thick and fast.
I keep
Nobody's
launching.
been
Oh,
able to
that was
hold
good.
them for
That was
long.
good. Straight mobility.
Very good. That means less fortification. Will be easier for the Guardian to clean up.
I know, it's like quite potent. Straight into one. Done the deed. Die. God of War, still in the back. Let's see how we go. There we go. Everybody should die there. Going through now. Last one. Then 6. 10 minutes. 10 minutes for checkpoint. That's it. So open on 9:55. Following checkpoint, we're gonna get this guy right here. And I'm just gonna Nova him, I don't care. And do this, and that solves the problem. Like, grab this thing right away. Ignore these guys, we don't care. I wanna open this up. And now we're over with that guy. And then we stay to the right side because things are gonna spawn. And they like to hide. So as they spawn, you get rid of them. See that you're already spawn here, get rid of them. Another guy there, get rid of him. Like that. Perfect job. Should be open. Come on. Alright, takes forever. Okay, there we go. 8, see, 9 minutes. You wanna, so I got 8:52, that's hard. 9 minutes. Harry this up. But if the captain shows up over here, I go, it's a game. So you go like this, hover over a little bit, Captain right there. Did you see him there? That's the captain. Hello, boy. I got excited here. Hold on, let's move. He does that. Jump. Go in and out. Look, he's gonna stop. There we go. Again. One more. It's okay. And he's died. Oh, perfect. Then just rush through. Don't even worry about anything. Like, these guys are gonna kind of get in your way. No. Like, you don't need that. Just go. This is it right here. Right, 7 minutes, 57 seconds. Okay. So the captain cooperated. And we're just gonna do this because we really want this guy out of the way. and they'll go open that. Give me a second. So I want Art of War. Just remember, stay with the high ground, and you're not gonna have any problem. Now don't mess up either, because you might die. So they spawn, you see him. They spawn, you see him. Okay, and then look, there's orbs being made. In a minute, you're gonna go have a little fun. Okay, here we go. Awesome. That guy's spawning. I'm gonna put that there. Put that there. Get him. There we go. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. It's gonna open now. You got what you need to get. It's gonna open. Just a second. And then you have your. There you go. And there's enough. It opened. 7 minutes 51 seconds. 6 minutes 51 seconds. I want to do this to this guy. I actually missed it. Alright. So now remember, that current is gonna put him exactly where you need him to be. There it is, there it is. There we go. We're turning to open up, and then you go like this. That should do. Gotta close them. Alright, come on. I don't have any more plans, unfortunately. Very unfortunate. Come on, open up. Do some. Oh, it's opening right there. This is dangerous. You could kill here, though. So your grenade here, it's good, but it could kill him. Yeah. Alright, here we go. 5 minutes, 55 seconds. Almost 6 minutes. But because I have a captain, it will be a high score. 5:46.
I caught his babysitting drifter on Kepler. Zavala is
That's
recovering
it.
from his battle with
That's
the
how you do it.
That leaves just
Alright,
Crow in
so
Vanguard leadership.
3.3 mil.
He did well against Fickle,
3.376.
but he cannot be everywhere.
235.
The city needs you now more than ever.
So
I